Angel Reese is the villain, Caitlin Clark is the hero, and Angel Reese continued to play into it last night by getting ejected, and it's almost like it's all scripted. This is perfect.
Angel Reese faced the consequences of her actions after being sued by the Chicago Sky for her involvement in a steroid scandal. This wasn't just a betrayal to her team, it was a stain on the entire league, revealing the lengths she went to for an unfair advantage. But guess what? Even with her desperate attempts, it didn't pay off. Her stats remain a disappointment. Despite the alleged involvement of her coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, in the scandal, Reese still fell short. It's astonishing how someone could go to such lengths, yet fail so miserably, embodying both deceit and incompetence.
The addiction is real. The addiction to attention is real.
Her jealousy toward Caitlin Clark was always evident, but it was her greed and desperation that ultimately led to the downfall of her career. Now, the Chicago Sky is caught in the crossfire, facing harsh criticism because of one bad apple, Reese. Angel, you have no one to blame but yourself, and trust me, the consequences are only beginning.
Angel Reese said, hey, she'll play the villain role. Kennedy Carter certainly embraces that as well. Chad, right after we're discussing Angel Reese and the villain in the storyline and the plot that brings eyeballs to the product of Caitlin Clark on tour across the WNBA. She's ejected for the first time in her WNBA career.
Angel Reese's career is spiraling down faster than anyone could have imagined, and honestly, she has no one to blame but herself. Let's break down this disaster in all its humiliating glory. First up, the meltdown. Angel Reese's reaction was a full-on sob story about how coach Teresa Weatherspoon was her guiding light. Oh, really, Angel? If Weatherspoon was so important to you, why are you now throwing her under the bus? It's almost laughable. One minute she's your mentor, the next she's allegedly part of your steroid scandal. Get your story straight. But let's not sugarcoat what Reese got caught doing. This wasn't some minor slip-up. She wasn't found with an extra protein shake in her bag. No, she was juiced up on EPO and anabolic steroids. We're talking about substances that drastically boost red blood cells and endurance, like EPO, and bulk you up like a bodybuilder in a rush. This wasn't a trip to GNC for vitamins, it was cheating, plain and simple. And Reese? She's right at the center of it all, but for all the wrong reasons.
And Angel Reese is stirring this up, so while she doesn't, Angel Reese always comes off as the victim.
The backlash? Oh, it's been absolutely brutal. Fans, the media, everyone is now questioning if Angel Reese ever had any real talent, or if it was all just a chemically enhanced sham from the very beginning. Her career is as shattered as her jump shot, which, let's be honest, wasn't exactly stellar to begin with. And the Chicago Sky? They wasted no time in suspending her the moment the steroid scandal broke, adding fuel to an already raging fire.
She got terminated today from the Chicago Sky.
The entire team was struggling, but now the locker room has turned into a full-blown dumpster fire. And it's not just Reese's fault. She's out here pointing fingers at Teresa Weatherspoon, the same coach she once claimed meant the world to her. Some even suggest that Weatherspoon might have pushed her toward using steroids, desperate to boost the team's lackluster performance. But let's be real, Reese made this bed, and now she's lying in it, face down. She didn't just dabble in a little extra help, she dove headfirst into banned substances, going all out with EPO and anabolic steroids. In the WNBA, these aren't just frowned upon, they're strictly banned. Her career is now in a nosedive, and for months, rumors swirled about her juicing. Then, the bombshell dropped, positive test results. The fallout was swift, suspended, roasted by fans, and now facing the harshest truth any athlete can endure. Her career might be over, not because of a sprained ankle or a torn ACL, but because she couldn't handle the competition cleanly.
But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA.
Speaking of competition, let's talk about Caitlin Clark, the player who doesn't need steroids to light up the scoreboard. While Reese was out there struggling with 11.5 points and a disappointing 9.2 rebounds per game, most of which came from her own missed shots, Clark was dominating the league with 20 points per game and shattering assist records. Clark's achievements on the court make Reese's desperate attempts at a shortcut look even more pathetic by comparison.
WNBA has been around a couple of decades, and people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel.
Reese was practically a snail next to Clark. The pressure of watching Clark soar must have been crushing for Reese, and what did she do with that pressure? She made the absolute worst choice possible. She turned to steroids. Reese's stats, which were already a joke, now come with a massive asterisk. Her so-called double-doubles? They mean nothing when they're tainted by banned substances. And let's not forget the Chicago Sky. They finished with a dismal 13-27 record, and no amount of steroid-fueled rebounds from Reese could save that sinking ship. Her individual numbers were meaningless because the team as a whole was a complete train wreck. With Reese's scandal, the dumpster fire just grew even bigger, leaving the Sky in an even deeper mess.
Would Angel Reese prematurely end her rookie season to spare herself the embarrassment of losing Rookie of the Year to Caitlin Clark?
The media had a field day with this entire situation. The contrast between Reese and Clark was like night and day. While Clark was the golden child, bringing more attention to the WNBA than ever before, Reese tried to embrace the villain role as if it would make her relevant. Instead, she became the league's punchline. Clark didn't need performance enhancers or to stir up drama. She was simply that good, letting her talent speak for itself. Meanwhile, Reese's attempts to find a shortcut only highlighted the gap between them, making her scandal even more humiliating.
Angel Reese needs Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark does not need Angel Reese.
And Reese? She was just that desperate. She thought embracing the villain role might keep her in the spotlight, but let's be real, the only spotlight she's in now is the one shining on her downfall. The team was already falling apart, and this scandal only made the implosion that much more spectacular. And let's not forget the cherry on top, Coach Teresa Weatherspoon getting dragged down with her. Allegedly, Weatherspoon might have even encouraged Reese to use the drugs. If that's true, it's a whole new level of pathetic, a coach pushing her player to cheat simply because the team's performance was so dismal. Yikes.
Angel Reese and her coach, former coach I should say, Teresa Weatherspoon. We had all heard a few weeks ago that the Chicago Sky said goodbye to Teresa Weatherspoon, saying that it was time to, quote, make a change.
When the dust settled, the locker room resembled a war zone, trust was gone, and morale was non-existent. Nobody wants to play alongside someone who's not only cheating but also dragging everyone else down in the process. Reese shattered whatever remained of the team's already fragile unity. The scandal didn't just ruin her career, it rattled the entire organization, leaving deep scars that may take years to heal.
Angel Reese, Chicago Sky, had major culture issue under fired head coach. That, of course, is Teresa Weatherspoon. First-year coach criticized for tailoring game plan to benefit Reese. And again, many of us could see it coming.
Of course, Weatherspoon didn't escape the wreckage either. She was fired right alongside Reese. Let's be real, it wasn't just because of the terrible season record. The Chicago Sky needed to wipe the slate clean. They were done with the drama, done with the dysfunction, and certainly done with Angel Reese. The message was crystal clear: no more nonsense, no more scandals, and no more Reese dragging the team's name through the mud. It's over for her, and honestly, it couldn't have come soon enough.
That Weatherspoon was tailoring the Sky's game around one or two players led to some serious dysfunction inside the locker room.
Angel Reese's career? Yeah, it's hanging by a thread, and that thread is fraying fast. Let's be real, she didn't just mess up, she threw her entire career into a dumpster fire and then doused it with gasoline. After her suspension and the Chicago Sky kicking her to the curb, it's clear she'll be remembered more for her steroid scandal than any supposed talent she once had. The question now isn't if she'll make a comeback, but if anyone even wants her back. With a wave of young, clean talent flooding the WNBA, who in their right mind would take a washed-up, scandal-ridden player who had to cheat to stay relevant?
She's pissed off because they're not just like, it's not just about one player, it's about me too. And it's like, wait, time out. Nobody, I haven't even seen it yet. This is her.
Reese went from a rising star to a walking disaster in record time, and it's hard to imagine she'll ever recover from this. Her reputation is shattered, and her chances of returning are slim to none. It's not just her suspension that's doing the damage, her entire legacy is now tainted by steroids and drama. Fans have moved on, and the WNBA doesn't need this kind of attention, especially when they were finally gaining momentum thanks to Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is thriving, signing a $28 million deal with Nike and doing everything right. While Reese plays the villain, Clark is dominating the court, staying out of drama, and becoming the face of the WNBA. Clark is clean and talented, with brands clamoring to get her on their roster, while Reese is stuck in the shadows, desperately trying to salvage what's left of her career.
But everybody had an opinion on Angel Reese, and Angel Reese is stirring this up. So while she doesn't, Angel Reese always comes off as the victim.
And then there's the Chicago Sky, who wasted no time showing Reese the door. Honestly, who could blame them? She's a walking PR disaster. Her steroid use made her a liability, and keeping her around would have only dragged the team down further. Now, the Sky can focus on rebuilding without the drama, while Reese is left wondering if anyone will ever take a chance on her again. The path ahead looks bleak for her, with trust shattered and her reputation in ruins.